And then after I talk about the exam, I'll answer questions and then we'll shift over to nationalism. So let me first pull up the presentation for your exam that I have to share with you. There we go. All right. So, lots of new information for you. First thing, remember the date, May the 21st. It's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Obviously, we're not. It's Marvin.
My God.
Wait, Marvin?
Oh my
Marvin! No, come back.
Wait, come back. I want to say hi. I said pets were allowed. I suppose siblings are also allowed.
Nah, he's not
So
that.
cool.
Same thing.
Nice box, dude.
Why?
Wow, that's a nice dress.
That's a quality box right there.
Mhm.
He looks like that robot from those videos. What was that guy's name?
Moby?
Yes.
Oh,
Tim
I know
Moby.
what you're talking about. I know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
I was thinking Wally.
God.
All right. Well,
Forget Tim and Moby.
let's go ahead. Let's start talking about your exam a little bit. So remember,
Oh.
it is happening on May the 21st at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We won't be at school, so I'm not going to be able to like run down the hallway finding you and making sure that you're all there. You're going to have to be responsible and make sure that you're logging in at the appropriate time. Now, here's some important information that is going to be new, okay? About 2 days before the test, so around May 19th, okay, you are going to receive in your email your ticket for the exam, okay? It's going to be in whatever email you use for your College Board account, okay? Now, I will tell you what to do if you don't get their emails, because there's a simple solution, okay? But you're going to get an email that's going to look like this, except obviously it's going to say AP World History on it, okay? You will get an email like this 2 days before every exam that you're taking. So if you're taking another AP exam, you will get a separate email for each class, okay? So if you're taking AP Spanish, you'll get a separate ticket. AP Chem people, you'll get a separate ticket. AP Psych, it's a separate ticket. And it will come 2 days before that test. So it's not going to come all at once, which means you may already have received some of the other ones before we get your one for AP World, okay? But it is a unique ticket for each exam that you're taking. It is also unique to you. So don't think like you're doing your friend a favor, and if they're like, hey, I never got the email, can you forward me the ticket, okay? That ticket is only for you, okay? And if you try to send it to your friend, that's gonna trigger like their like cheating software saying, hey, this person sent their ticket to a friend, they probably want their friend to take the test for them. And then it's gonna be a whole investigation and you don't want to do that. So do not forward it to anybody thinking that you're just helping them out, because the link is going to be unique to you, okay? Now, if you don't get College Board emails, I know a lot of you reached out to me, not last week, but the week before, when they sent out that list of your exams saying, I never got that email. You can still get your tickets, okay? Your tickets will be available in your MyAP account, okay, which you log into at myap.collegeboard.org. That is the same place that you would log in July to go get your scores. Okay, or if you took the PSAT and wanted to see your scores there, or when you take the SAT, it's the same place, okay? So what you need to start doing this week, next week, is making sure that at the very least, you can log into your College Board account, okay? That you know what your password is, you know what your username is. Because here's the deal. 1:30 p.m. on May the 21st is not the time for you to realize that you forgot what your password is, or you can't remember what email address you used, okay? So you want to make sure that you do all of this before exam day, okay? Before your first exam. So if you have other exams before ours, you want to make sure that you're doing this before the day of the exam. That is very important, okay? And you should start logging in at 1:30 p.m. on May the 21st, okay? If your exam starts at 2 o'clock, the link becomes active on May the 21st, 30 minutes before the start of your test. So if any of your tests start at 2, which most of them on the East Coast do, you'll start logging in a half hour before, okay, at 1:30 p.m. Now, how do you log in? You'll open up your ticket, and then you see this little yellow box here that says Go to Exam. You can click it 30 minutes before the test. It will not activate until 30 minutes before the test. So the day of the exam, you'll pull up your ticket, and then you will click it 30 minutes before, and it will take you into the very mysterious security room where they will go through the security protocols with you, okay? Now, this is the part that I don't know. This is the part that I don't know much about, okay? And the reason is because they haven't told us what this looks like, simply because this is their like security feature. We're not supposed to know what this looks like, but we know starting at 1:30, you will be asked to complete a security screening. They may ask you security questions. They're probably going to have you do, from what I understand, a very brief writing sample so that they can get a sense of what your writing style is before you start the test. Okay, this is why it is imperative to log in 30 minutes before the test begins, because you won't get to the test until you complete the security screening. And so you don't want to log in at 1:58, find out that you have a 15-minute security screening to do, and then miss out on test time. Okay? Because whether you are logged in or not, the test begins at 2 o'clock. It doesn't start when you log in. So if you log in late, then what is going to end up happening is you're going to end up with less time for the test. Okay? Once you complete the security screening, you're simply going to wait. The exam will automatically load, and it will automatically begin at 2 p.m. You don't have to refresh your page. You don't have to reload the page at 2. Just wait patiently. At 2 o'clock, the test will pop up, okay? And then you simply begin. Now, these last two things are important. If you have an app like Grammarly, okay? I know a lot of you use that, okay? That must be disabled before you start the test, okay? Because that will also trigger some kind of security features. So if you use Grammarly, make sure that you disable it before the test begins, okay? Also, the exam will not work on Internet Explorer, okay? The exam will not work on Internet Explorer. You must use a browser such as Chrome, Firefox, or if you're using a Mac, Safari, okay? But it will not load properly on Internet Explorer, and I would assume Edge as well. So what that means is that if that's the browser that you are using, okay, then you need to start working now to download a new browser. Chrome and Firefox are both free. Chrome is their preferred browser, okay? So if you have access to Chrome, that is the preferred browser that you should be using, okay? Now, here's the big thing, okay, what they said last night, or on Wednesday night rather. What they said is that the question, you may not be able to answer the whole question in 45 minutes, and that's okay. They were very, very clear about this, okay? You don't need to complete the entire question to get a score of 5, okay? You should be pretty familiar with the new rubric by now. You should know what you have to do to earn points, okay? So you should be very, very aware that you can still get a high score without completing the entire task. What is extremely important is that when it's time to submit your work, you submit what you've done, okay? You cannot submit late, okay? They were very, very clear about that you can't submit anything late. So when it comes time to press submit, even if you're not done, you need to submit whatever it is that you have, okay? And you have 3 options for how you're going to do this. The first one being the easiest, the next two being, I think, exceedingly complicated, and why would you bother? So the first one, and I'm going to go through all of these with you, is you could copy and paste your response. You could attach a typed response, or you could attach one or more photos of a handwritten response. Now let me show you what this looks like. So for the first response, this is going to be the recommended way to do it. This, I think, is going to be the easiest and the simplest and the fastest way for you to do this, okay? This is what your screen is going to look like, okay? Elias just asked, will they ever say what the topic is before the test? No, they will not, okay? All we know is that it comes from periods 1 through 6, okay? So this is what your screen is going to look like on the computer. Above this, so in this area here, will be the questions and the documents, and then you'll just be scrolling, okay? You can see here, there's 3 places for you to submit your answer, okay? The easiest one is going to be to do this one at the bottom. That's probably why they made it the biggest, okay? What you simply do here is you can type your answer out in a Google Doc. You can type it out in Word Online. You can use the desktop version of Microsoft Word. I think Word Online might be the easiest, and the reason I say that is because it auto-saves as you go, which means, God forbid, something happens where you accidentally close out, you're not going to lose everything that you've typed up to that point. Remember, Word Online, which is the one that you use like at school all the time when you're working in ClassLink, okay? Word Online automatically saves as you go. So that might be the easiest one for you to use, but of course that is entirely up to you, okay? And so what you would do is you would type your response out in that Word document or the Google Doc or whatever, and then when you are finished, you simply copy that text, paste it into that box, and then you click submit, okay? And so what this means is that you have 2 different windows going, right? You have one with your Word document or the Google Doc or the whatever, and then one with the actual test question and the documents. And so you're flipping back and forth between the 2, okay? If you choose this option, just make sure at the beginning of your response, so at the top, you type your AP ID, which by the way is going to be on your ticket, and your initials, okay? So you would type what your AP ID is and your initials at the top of the response. Then you simply copy everything in there, and then when we get to that 5-minute mark, you click submit, okay? This one I think is going to be the easiest. It's going to be the fastest, okay? Because it doesn't involve having to upload anything. Option 2, and I don't know why you would go for option 2 if you can. Option 2, okay, is you're typing in a separate document, okay, and rather than simply copy and paste the text from that document, you decide that you're going to save the document and then upload the file, okay? So like a text file, like a Word document, you would upload the whole document. That means you have to save the file, and then you have to look for it and upload it in the attached text file option, okay? Again, I don't know why you would pick this. Why wouldn't you just copy and paste? But this option is certainly available for you. It's going to take longer because you're going to have to save the file, you're going to have to find the file, then you're going to have to upload it, and then click submit, okay? Just like with the previous option, you need to type your AP ID, which is in your admission ticket, and your initials at the top of the response, okay? So you need to do that for both of the typed options. And then again, when the timer hits 5 minutes, you simply upload and then click submit. Now, the absolute worst case, last option, and like I said, please, if you can at all avoid it, don't do this, okay? No, really, please don't do this because it's going to take forever, okay? Because if you opt for the handwritten option, okay, number 1, each page of your response needs to have your AP ID number, your initials, and the page number at the top of the page, okay? So you would have to write your ID number, not your student ID, your AP ID number, your initials, and then the page number, like page 1, page 2, whatever, okay? You have to use line paper, 8.5 by 11, that is the standard size. You must use a blue or black pen. They will not accept pencil. And obviously your response has to be written neatly, okay? Now, what you then have to do, and this is why this takes longer, is when there's 5 minutes left, you have to stop writing, and you have to take a picture of your response vertically, okay? So you'd have to take it like this, okay? Take it vertically, okay, of each page. You can only fit 1 page per photo, okay? You can only fit 1 page per photo, or 1 photo per page, excuse me, I said that backwards. And you'll need to attach multiple photos, which means if you write a 5-page response, you're going to need to upload, like you can see here, 5 separate files, okay? And so you will have to do this one at a time, okay? Don't tell them. You will have to do this one at a time for each photo, okay? So this, potentially, if you're writing a lot, this is the answer, or this is the option that's going to take you the most time on test day. So again, if you can at all avoid it, I would make sure not to do this. Also, you'll need to double and maybe even triple check before you click submit if this is your option. Make sure that you've uploaded all of your responses. So make sure that if you wrote a 4-page response, that you can look in that box and see 4 separate photos, okay? As I said, if at all possible, please try to avoid this option. There are so many things that can go wrong, okay? Now, with all 3 of these options, once you press the submit button, you have reached the point of no return. Okay, once you click submit, you can't stop that process. That's it, it's done. Okay, so make sure before you click that yellow button, whichever one of the 3 that you choose, okay, make sure that before you click that yellow button, you are sure about what you're going to do. Okay, and also be very careful when you are working on your response. Keep that mouse cursor away from the submit button, because if you click submit before you're done, it's just going to submit whatever you have, and again, there is no turning back. That is the point of no return. So be very careful about where you're sliding that mouse around during the test, okay? Because there is nothing that I or the College Board or anybody else can do once you click the submit button, okay? Now, there will very likely be a time, or it'll very likely happen that you'll click submit and you'll just see that little spinny thing just spinning for a little while, because there's going to be lots of people submitting at once, okay? Don't panic if that happens. Just leave the window open. Let the servers do what the servers are supposed to do, okay? They have assured us, they have told us, and they have assured us that once you click submit, that kind of reserves your spot in that queue, and that even if it takes a little while for the servers to get it, they will get it. So don't hit the back button. Don't try to refresh. Don't close out of the window, okay? Just wait until you get the message that pops up that says your AP exam is complete. And again, that may not happen immediately, okay? There's going to be upwards of 75,000 people uploading exams, okay? So you may not get that message immediately. So just wait it out, okay? But they have assured us multiple times, if you click submit before the timer runs out, your exam will get uploaded, okay? Now, if for some reason something goes wrong, okay? Maybe your exam did not submit, okay? There is the option of arranging a makeup test. I'm not going to waste time going into what that situation is right now, because I would prefer all of you to take the test on May 21st. And so if situations arise where that isn't possible for whatever reason, okay, maybe you're sitting and taking the test and your power goes out. Maybe you're sitting and taking the test and your little brother Marvin comes in the room and he pulls the plug on you, okay? Whatever it happens to be, there are, this is not an ideal testing environment, okay? We are testing at home. There's multiple things that could happen. So there is a procedure that you can follow to get yourself a makeup test, but I'm not going to waste time going through it right now because that is like a backup option, okay? And I don't want people to think that is their option. So there is a situation, or there is a mechanism in place if something goes horribly wrong, okay? And we will deal with that on a case-by-case basis. And by the way, there is a mechanism for this happening even if we're at school, right? Let's say we're taking the test at school and the fire alarm goes off. That is an exam disruption, okay? And there would be a makeup exam given. So it's just similar to what would happen if we were at school and something went wrong, okay? So what do you have to do between now and the day of the test, okay? Well, there's 5 things that you have to do. Number 1, log into your College Board account. Make sure that your email address is registered, okay? And then check your email program and make sure that you don't have College Board messages marked as like spam or going to your junk mail folder. So that's number 1, okay? Number 2 is you're gonna check the technology that you're gonna use, so make sure you have the correct browser, okay? If you're going to be printing the documents, make sure that you know how to use your printer, okay? May 21st at 2 p.m. is not the day for you to try to print for the very first time ever, okay? So make sure that you know how to use all of your tech, okay? Beginning next week, there's going to be a practice exam available, which I'll talk about more in a minute, okay? Between May 4th and May 21st, take the practice exam so you become familiar with what you need, okay? Have everything ready to go for the exam. So gather everything that you need. So for you guys, that's going to be get your notebook ready, okay? If you're printing the review sheets, get those printed out, get them in order, okay? You might want to go through your notebook and like maybe take those little tab things like this, these little things, okay? Maybe you go through your notebook, you take these little tabs and you mark important topics. So maybe you take a tab and you mark the page where your notes on the Silk Roads are, or the Columbian Exchange, or whatever the other major topics are that we think might pop up on the test. That way, when you're trying to flip through your notes really fast to find things, you can locate what you need. Maybe you want your textbook ready to go. Maybe you want to mark pages in the textbook as well so that you can find things easily, okay? Jan, what did the College Board just text you? Turn your mic on. Jan just got a text. Let's find out. Go ahead, Jan.
They texted me, getting ready for AP exams, see how to prepare, and then they sent me a link.
So basically, the link is going to be a lot of what I'm telling you now. So that's good. If you're getting text messages, that means that at the very least, they have your phone number on file. Okay. So make sure that you log in to make sure that your email address is there too. So you gather everything that you need, and then 2 days before the test, you want to make sure that you get your ticket. Okay. So how do we review our contact information? Okay, you want to log into your My AP account, confirm your email address. I'm not going to go through all this with you, but basically you have to go, after you log in, you go up to the right-hand corner and you look for account settings and confirm that the email address that they have on file is the one that you're going to be using to look for your ticket, okay? If you need to change that, you can click update and you can use another email address. Make sure whichever email address you register is not one that you're going to get rid of. Make sure that it's one that you know how to access, you know the password to, okay? Because again, you don't want to run into that problem. Make sure that you've checked the box that says, yes, you want to receive updates from the College Board. And then go into your email account, okay, and add this email address to your contacts list. That way it is considered safe and they won't send any of their emails to your spam or your junk mail folder. Now, if all else fails and this doesn't work, don't worry, because you can still, again, get to your e-ticket to take the test. You can still get there from your My AP account. So you must make sure that you can log in to that, okay? That is important. Okay, and then again, you want to make sure that you update your tech. Chrome is the preferred browser, okay? Beginning on Monday, May the 4th, there will be a practice exam available. Now, one of your assignments, either next week or the following week, is going to be to complete the whole practice test. So you're welcome to do it ahead of time if you want to. I'm pretty sure it's going to be next week. But you're welcome to go through it ahead of time, okay? But it'll be available to you beginning on Monday. And so you'll go to cb.org/AP demo, and then the practice test will be there, okay? I would complete the practice test on whatever device you plan to complete the actual exam on, because you want to make sure that everything works properly. So don't do the practice test on your phone if you plan to take the AP test on a laptop, okay? Go through the demo and go through the practice exam on whichever device you're going to take the test on, because it might work fine on your iPhone, but then when you sit down to take the test, okay, it might not work on your laptop because you might realize, oh shoot, this laptop only has Internet Explorer as a browser, okay? So you want to test everything out on whatever device you're using to take the test. If you don't have Chrome, again, just search for Get Latest Chrome browser, download and install it, okay? It is free. And then make that browser, okay, whether it's Chrome, Firefox, or Safari, or whatever, as long as it's not Internet Explorer, make that new browser. Again, Chrome is the preferred browser. Chrome is the one that they want you using. Make sure to set that up as your default browser so that when you open the test, it opens up in Chrome, okay? Because even if you download Chrome, if it's not your default browser and you go to click that link, it's gonna try to open that link up in Internet Explorer, okay? Or whatever the default browser is, okay? So make sure that Chrome or Firefox or whatever is your default browser. Now, when you sit down to actually take the test, okay, this is where testing at home becomes a bit of a pain, okay? Because obviously you want to find a quiet place or a quiet room to take the test, okay? You want to remove any distractions, okay? You know, you want to put your phone, I mean, if you're not using your phone, put your phone off to the side, okay? Maybe put it into airplane mode if you're not going to be using it. That way you're not getting messages. Or put it on, actually better option, yeah, is to put it on do not disturb. That way you won't get text messages and things, but you'll still be able to get on to the internet if you need to look something up. If you go to airplane mode, you won't be able to get to the internet, okay? Let your parents, let your siblings, your guardians, your whomever know that you're testing at that time so that they don't bother you, okay? You don't want to be in the middle of the test and your mother shows up at the door and says, I need you to take out the trash, okay? So let them know ahead of time when you're going to be taking the test. Make sure your device is plugged in. You don't want to run out of battery power in the middle of the test, okay? You know, definitely do make sure that it's plugged in so you don't run into that technical issue where you're typing along and you're going just fine, and then all of a sudden your screen goes black, okay, because the battery died, okay? Now, if that happened, yes, you would be able to take the makeup, but the makeup would be a completely separate question, you know, very, very different, and it would be on a different day. And if, you know, if you were going along just fine with this question, that's not what you want to do. When you're taking the test at home, you might want to tell the other people in your house, hey, listen, from 1:30 to 3, if at all possible, could you not watch Netflix? Could you not go play Fortnite? Okay, because those are things that are going to require a high level of bandwidth, and they might slow your network down. So those are, those are things that if you could ask your family or whomever it is that you're living with, hey, can you not do this until I'm finished with my test? Okay, and then do make sure that you have any of those documents and notes and things that you're going to use. Make sure that you have them with you. Okay. You absolutely need to manage your time well, okay? If you look on the right here, this is what the timer is going to look like. It's going to tell you how much time you have left to submit. Once it gets down to 5 minutes, it's going to turn to red and it's going to look like this, okay? You must make sure that you submit the test before that red timer goes to 0, okay? I have a feeling that the biggest mistake students are going to make on this at-home test is that they're going to lose track of time and they're not going to click submit on time, okay? Keep checking the timer. Do not lose track of time. You may want to, okay, have a separate timer running on your phone so that you get like an audio alert, okay? So maybe the test is 45 minutes, maybe you set a timer for 40 minutes. That way, when you have five minutes left, your phone starts to beep or something, and it's time to submit your work, okay? But absolutely keep an eye on the timer, okay? Because, and this is important, if you don't submit your response on time, you won't get any credit for it, okay? And losing track of time and forgetting to press submit is not a reason that they'll let you take a makeup. Okay, they won't let you take a makeup if you tell them, oh, I need to do the makeup. Jan's doing TikTok dances. They won't let you take a makeup if you tell them, oh, I ran out of time and I didn't get to click submit. Okay, so don't do that. Please keep an eye on the time. Okay, even if you don't finish, there's still ways to earn a 5. I was talking to a student last night and I was telling them, and I'm going to tell everybody this as we start to review for the exam, that complexity point, that 10th point, I don't think it's something that you should even bother with, okay? You only have 45 minutes. I don't think it's something that you should waste time worrying about. If you get a 9 out of 10, you're still going to get a 5, okay? And so I think you should spend more of your time focusing on those other points rather than chasing the unicorn point, okay? A 9 out of 10 will still get you a 5, and this is a very short test, okay? And so you don't want to waste precious time worrying about that complexity point, but I'll get more into that later on next week, okay? All right, so that's the end of that presentation. Let me go ahead and stop here. And I would assume, or I would think there's probably a lot of questions. So I'm going to go ahead now and I will start answering any exam questions that you have. If you have a question, just go ahead and unmute your mic and you're free to ask it now. Nobody has any questions about the test? Not one?
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I saved the documents on my computer, like for the units, the one that you like provided us. Yeah. I'll be able to pull it up on the computer without any problems with the website or at all or anything
Correct,
like that?
yes. Okay, good. Excellent question. So they are not using any kind of a lockdown browser, which means that you can open additional windows as you go through the test, okay? So maybe you're taking the test and you need to Google something really quickly. Maybe you can't remember where King Leopold is from. Belgium, by the way, okay? But maybe you can't remember that. And you're like, shoot, was he from the Netherlands or was he from Belgium? You can Google that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not going to get you into any kind of trouble, okay? Maybe you're trying to remember the spelling of something, and so you want to look it up real quick. You can open a separate tab and open a separate window, and you can do that, okay? There is nothing that says that you can't do that, okay? So don't worry. Okay. Other questions that you have? That's an excellent question. So yes, so if you saved all those review sheets, like you save them to your computer and you want to be able to pull them up, you can absolutely do that if you're not printing them. Yes. Other questions that you might have? What's in the chat? Oh, Alejandro, do they know what browsers we open up? Yes, they do. Well, they know. What do you mean by that, Alejandro? I don't understand. Because you are allowed to open up additional browsers. That's not going to get you into trouble. Is that what you're asking about? I'm not sure. Turn your mic on, Alejandro, because I'm not sure what you're asking there. What do you
like if we search something up, do they know what we search up?
I don't know if they're going to know that necessarily that you searched it up, but if you find something online and you copy and paste it, they're going to know that you plagiarized, and then your score is going to get canceled. So that they'll know. Okay, but if you're just looking up like some basic information for contextualization or for outside evidence, and you word it properly, that's totally acceptable. Okay. Elias asked, do we have to put the AP ID and the initials on the practice exam too? I would do that just to get yourself into the habit of it. Yes, when you take the practice exam next week, okay, which is, I don't believe it's a full exam. I think it's a very short exam. But when you do the practice exam to make sure everything works, yes, you want to do it and you want to type it exactly as if it was the actual exam, okay, to kind of get you into that frame of mind. Okay. Other questions that you guys have about the exam? Now, for some of your other exams, there's going to be forms and things that you have to download. Like I know for AP Chemistry, for example, there's a specific version of the periodic table that they want you to have. I know for some of the math, and I think some of the science exams too, there is a formula reference sheet that you'll want to download that you can use. AP Music Theory, there's some kind of a listening thing that you need. I would ask your AP Music teacher exactly what that is. AP Spanish people or any of the AP languages, there is an app that you have to download. It's like a whole separate app. And so you need to, or hopefully your AP language teacher, your Spanish teacher has reached out to you and has told you exactly what that is, but there is a separate app that you need for that test. And like I said, I think AP Music, there might be something else that you need. I know there's some kind of like listening, you have to be able to hear things if I'm not mistaken. But AP Music people, if your music teacher doesn't know, let me know and I can send you the file that they gave us about AP Music so that you have it, because I do have it. But your AP Music teacher should know more about it than me. I can just send you the file though, okay? Other questions about the exam? If you're taking an AP Math exam, obviously you are allowed to use calculators, okay? It's just like with the regular AP exam. So your graphing calculator that the school issued you, although I don't think any of you guys are in AP Calc, but the graphing calculator that the school issued you is perfectly acceptable, okay? Any other questions? No? Okay. All right, so if that is not the case, then I'm going to go and I'm going to very briefly talk about nationalism today. It's a very short lesson, and I had planned it that way. Because I knew we'd be spending most of our time talking about the test. So let me pull up the very brief lesson about nationalism, okay? And how people during this time period, as we continue to approach the year 1900, how and why these sort of nationalist feelings begin to crop up, okay? So here is our major development, okay? And that's nationalism becomes a major force in shaping the development of these empires, okay? We started to see it in the French Revolution, okay? And we're going to see it again. We saw it in the Haitian Revolution, in the American Revolution, in the Latin American revolutions. All of those things that we talked about at the beginning of this week, nationalism was a driving force in all of them. And that is because these people begin to develop this new sense of commonality, okay, that they are a common people based on the language that they speak. So again, for the first time, the French thought of themselves as being French, as opposed to being loyal to a particular ruler or a particular lord or king or whomever, okay? Religion plays a part in this, the territory where you live, okay, what the customs are. All of those things play a part in a nationalist identity. And that helps the government of those nations to foster a sense of unity, okay, of one. Now, in and of itself, there's nothing wrong with nationalism. As we're going to see, or as we would have seen if we were still in school, studying units 7, 8, and 9, we would talk about how nationalism becomes extremely problematic, okay, with the rise of fascism and socialism and so on and so forth, okay? And so we're going to look at the unification today of two places, Germany first and then Italy, okay? And so we're going to start by talking about Germany, okay? Prior to German unification, okay, Germany was referred to as the Holy Roman Empire. Okay, this, by the way, is the First Reich. Okay, the Nazis being the Third Reich, and then the Second Reich being of the German Empire during World War I. And so this Holy Roman Empire is a collection of all of these territories that you see on the map. Okay, they were all independent. Okay, but collectively they made up the Holy Roman Empire. Okay, now the largest of the territories is the Kingdom of Germany. Okay, but even that is known, as you can see, by a whole bunch of different names. Okay, all of these territories pretty much ruled independently. There was no unified government. There was no centralized leader, and so Saxony, wasn't really united with Franconia, which wasn't united with Bohemia, which wasn't united with Bavaria, etc. All these territories ruled pretty much independently, okay? And it's not until Frederick William, okay, comes onto the scene that these territories begin to start uniting. And that's thanks to a new kingdom that he lays out called Prussia. Okay, now if you look, William, okay, Frederick William inherits a small bit of land up here, okay, with no natural defenses, okay, called Brandenburg. So it's right in here, okay. It's landlocked, which is why we say there weren't a whole lot of natural defenses. And so that's kind of where he starts, okay, with this process of unification under the name Prussia. He builds up an army of 40,000 men, which, by the way, was the fourth largest at that time within Europe, okay, after Britain, France, and Spain. He sets up a civil government with a centralized leader, okay, and he made sure that the leaders of this government were members of the aristocracy. And then when he dies in 1701, his son, Frederick I, becomes the king. Okay, and he calls it Prussia. Okay, and so now we have Prussia emerging as an empire within Europe. Okay, and so you can see this is where it starts, and you can kind of see how he expands out. Notice that Prussia, okay, encompasses a lot of what is modern day Germany. Okay, you can see, look, here is modern day Berlin, okay, which is, obviously Germany's capital. So this is traditionally what we think of as Germany. Okay, that's the part of the world that we're in. Now, in the past, attempts to unify Germany had been extremely unsuccessful. In fact, they were massive failures. Okay, and so all of these independent German people began to look towards Prussia for leadership. Why did they want to become part of Prussia? Well, because Prussia was very, very, very wealthy. They were extremely prosperous. And they were protective of their people. And so the German people, okay, in all those different independent states of the Holy Roman Empire, the German people wanted that. And so they sort of looked towards Prussia to kind of unite Germany that way. And William I is more than happy to kind of agree to this. And he appoints a prime minister that you see pictured there on the left, a guy by the name of Otto von Bismarck, okay, who, as you can see, looks like a real friendly fellow, right? I mean, he wears a helmet with a spike on the top of it, okay? His task is to unite Germany, okay? And he's pretty successful at this simply because he rules like a dictator. Any of the states who sort of opposed him, Otto ignores them and does what he wants to do anyway, okay? And so it is, he is absolutely one of the most successful politicians of the 19th century, okay? And he is, both through his military and through his diplomatic abilities, he is able to bring most of Germany under the control of the Prussian Empire, or of the Prussian leadership, okay? And he was happy to be diplomatic, at least at first, but if he didn't get what he wanted, he was happy to go to war either, okay? And so he becomes what we call a realpolitik. What does that mean? That means he's very, very realistic, okay? He deals in the reality. He doesn't think about theory. He doesn't think about ethics, okay? He doesn't have a lot of lofty goals. He's very much, you know, like a straight shooter. He's like, well, this is what I want to do. This is the easiest way we're going to do it. And so what did he want to do? He wanted to unite Germany. Okay, how did he do it? Well, he was willing to do it peacefully at first, but then he was basically like, if you don't listen to me, we're going to send the army in and we're going to take over anyway. So you may as well just not fight back. Okay, so that's what we mean when we talk about a realpolitik. Okay, he doesn't deal, or he didn't deal in like ideals. So he's not like, well, I'm all about liberty, or I'm all about freedom. He's all about, no, this is what I want to do. This is the easiest way for me to do it, okay? And so he is able to really begin to unite Germany, okay? He gets Austria to help him defeat Denmark, okay? And then he gains control over two other territories, Schleswig and Holstein, okay? And then in 1866, he goes to war with Austria, okay? And he's able to defeat Austria and make Austria a part of the Prussian Empire, okay? And then what you have is you essentially have two different Germanys. You have the Northern Confederation, okay? And then you have the southern states, which at least for the time being, try to remain independent. Okay, and the reason that they were allowed to remain independent for at least the time is because they were allied with France, who agreed to protect them. But the Northern German Confederation really unites with Prussia and becomes what we think of as our German Empire. Okay, and so this map here kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at. The like sort of lavenderish color right here, that was Prussia. And then the orangish yellow areas were lands that got taken over by Prussia. The peach colors were areas that joined the German Confederation because they didn't want to get conquered. The orange areas down here also joined, and then this is the area that was annexed or eventually taken over by the Germans, okay? Obviously, though, this is something that's gonna make France very, very nervous, okay? They don't, you know, they're very worried about how much power this new German state is getting. And so Prussia and France go to war in 1870, okay? Bismarck, by the way, wanted this. He had purposely manipulated a situation to get France to go to war with him. This is absolutely what he wanted, okay? Remember, again, I said that he was a realist, okay? He knew that the fastest way to get what he wanted was to defeat France in war. And so he goes to war with them, okay? And in fact, a year later, France realizes that they've lost this war, and they don't surrender. They do what's called capitulate, which basically means that they withdraw and they tell Prussia, go ahead, just do what you were gonna do. We're not gonna fight you on it, okay? And so in 1871, okay, William I becomes the Kaiser or the Emperor of the German Empire, the Second Reich. Okay, again, the First Reich was the Holy Roman Empire, and the Third Reich are the Nazis. Okay, and so now we have a united Germany as an empire. Okay, now this is where they signed the peace treaty that ended the war with France. If you don't recognize that, that is Versailles. Okay, that is the Hall of Mirrors in the Palace of Versailles. And so that is where they ended this particular war. And then notice, once Germany becomes an empire, if you look at this graph, notice how their industrialization, okay, begins to start rapidly increasing. Okay, the Second Reich, Germany, this is them right here, right? Germany is going to begin preparing for a war. Okay, Germany is not content just to have a little German empire in northeastern Europe, and so Germany is ready to go to war, and they begin to prepare for it long before World War I begins, because once Germany becomes an empire, their plans are to go to war, okay, and to begin to conquer additional territories. Okay, so I told you that would be quick. So that brings us to the end of that very brief lesson. Does anybody have any questions for me about anything, either about the brief lesson, about your exam, anything at all? No? Okay. Make sure that you let your friends know that even if they don't watch the videos, that they should watch the first part of this one where we talk about the test, because that is important information for them. So that is a video, you know, that they are definitely going to watch. So tell them that they should, at the very least, once I put the link up this afternoon, that they should at least watch the first part of this video. Okay? Otherwise, I will let you guys go. Enjoy your weekend. Make sure, make sure before next week that you're, again, able to get into your My AP Classroom. I'm going to be assigning review questions next week on AP Classroom. They're going to be multiple choice questions. So make sure that for next week you can get into AP Classroom, okay? Otherwise, have a wonderful weekend. Yes, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Remember that the journey to 1 million subscribers starts now. All right, so have a fantastic weekend, everybody. I will see you all on Monday. Be safe, be good, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Goodbye.
Bye.